As Ahmet Davutoğlu, leader of the ruling Justice and Development Party, AK Party, prepares to start the second tour of his rounds to forge a coalition government, President Recep Tayyip Erdoğan has been criticized for conducting a strategy aimed at preventing the formation of a coalition government. According to Özer Sencar, head of the MetroPOLL polling company, Erdoğan, who believes the AK party could form a single-party government by slightly increasing its votes in an early election, favors a failure in coalition talks. If you have the chance in about 15 provinces to win back a deputy by getting several thousand more votes in an early election, then you would mobilize all your resources for the provinces in question. Erdoğan is acting with such a game plan, Sencar has told today's Zaman. In the June 7 general election, during which the AK party lost its parliamentary majority for the first time since coming to power in 2002, no single party got enough votes to form a government alone. Noting that some AK party voters, as much as 2% of all voters, did not vote as they were angry with the AK party's discourse, while another 1% of AK party voters were snatched away by the Nationalist Movement Party, MHP, Sencar said, if the AK party manages to win back these voters, then it will come to power as a single-party government. Erdoğan, who is still a very influential figure in the AK party, headed AK party governments for several years before being elected president in August last year. It is not possible for the AK party to forge a coalition without Erdoğan's consent. The first partner in an AK party coalition would be Erdoğan, Sencar said. Davutoğlu, who completed his first round of visits to leaders of opposition parties represented in parliament last week, is to pay a second visit to the main opposition Republican People's Party, CHP, this week as part of his efforts to find a coalition partner. A party which tries to impose a condition for the coalition that would attempt to leave Erdoğan out of the equation should know that it will not be possible to forge such a coalition, according to Sencar. Erdoğan has been accused by the opposition of transgressing the limits of his power by intervening in the affairs of the government. Sencar also warned that Erdoğan's game plan may backfire and the AK party could also see its votes decrease in case of a snap election. As per the constitution, the president can call for an early election if a government cannot be formed within 45 days after the election of all members of the Speaker's Council of Parliament. The 18-member Parliament Speakers' Council formed on July 9. Felicity Party, SP, leader Mustafa Kemalak, speaking to today's Zaman, agreed with Sencar, saying that Erdoğan constructs his dreams based on his belief that the AK party could regain the majority in the parliament in a possible snap election. The Palace Erdoğan might conduct public surveys. He might construct his dreams on 276 deputies. No one can restrict the nation's will. If the public is convinced that a coalition government is being prevented by the palace, the results of the possible snap election might be very different. Our nation does not appreciate the political plots and it will punish those who engage in such plots severely. The good will win. Saying that the delay in establishment of the coalition government hurts the country, Kemalak further added that the government must be formed in accordance with what the nation decided in the June 7 election. The palace has to accept regardless of whether Erdoğan wants the government to be established or not. Yes, he will no longer be able to direct the executive, legislation, and judiciary bodies according to himself under the new coalition government, but he has to accept this. The AK party and the main opposition Republican People's Party, CHP, have 258 and 132 deputies, respectively, while the MHP and the pro-Kurdish People's Democratic Party, HDP, each have 80 deputies. Should the AK party succeed in getting 18 more seats than it currently has, it will have the chance to form a party without needing a coalition partner. Speaking also with today's Zaman, Democratic Left Party, DSP, Chairman Masum Turker said that he finds Erdoğan's snap election strategy very wrong, adding that he believes that the AK party will lose many more votes in case of a snap election. If I predict this, both the AK party and the palace are also aware of this possibility. Their voting rate might fall to 30%. Turker further predicted that the MHP and HDP will increase their voting rates, but the CHP and the AK party will decrease their votes in a snap election. If the parties fail to forge a coalition government by August 24, the president can call for an early election after consulting with the Speaker of Parliament. Generally speaking, a total of 276 seats, representing an absolute majority in the 550-seat parliament, are required to form a government. Ahead of the beginning of the second round of coalition talks, there are indications that the AK party and the CHP may join forces in a coalition. The two parties should, despite their differences, be able to search a common path not to leave the country without a government, CHP spokesperson Haluk Koc told the Bugun Daily on Sunday. Davutoğlu, who is acting prime minister, is not expected to pay visits to the MHP, which practically ruled out any coalition option with the AK party. As for the pro-Kurdish People's Democratic Party, HDP, Davutoğlu has several times expressed that he does not consider the party to be a potential coalition partner. KOC remarks imply that the two parties will seriously work to hammer out a coalition. He said, "The attitude of the CHP and the AKP-AK party in the first round of talks has been positively perceived by a very large portion of the population." Following coalition talks between the two parties last week, both sides affirmed that an understanding had been reached to continue with talks to achieve a coalition. A leading AK party figure, Mehmet Ali Şahin, also signaled on the weekend that it is only with the main opposition party that the AK party could forge a coalition. At the moment, there is the possibility, although little, of forging a coalition with only the CHP. Şahin, who is AK party deputy chairman, was quoted by the Doğan news agency as saying on Saturday. At the grassroots level, the right-wing MHP is seen as the best coalition partner for the AK party. But a significant number of AK party officials reportedly think that it would be easier to make a coalition work with the CHP, as the MHP has a rather unbending attitude about its declared prerequisites for being part of a coalition.